Gabriel, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Really.
Man, it's so cool. I found you on Instagram and you've been rapping tefillin for 149 days. Tell us like how this started. Somebody might be like, oh, 149 days, that's not a lot, but you've been trying really hard for a while. And now you're just like, I'm going to do an Instagram uh, about it. And every day you post about you rapping tefillin. Tell us why.
Thanks. I haven't honestly since my bar mitzvah, like I've been trying to put it on every day because I think when I started during my bar mitzvah, I did put it on every day like for a month just because I'm on a new high. Then I stopped, and then throughout high school, I put it on like once a week or twice a week, whenever. And still, like until very recently, I was putting on like once or twice a week just because I was lazy. I would get up late. I felt like okay, I got up late. There's no point of doing it anymore, so I would stop. And this past January, I went to Hawaii with three of my friends, right? It was a really fun trip. And we were there because a bunch of other Jewish kids that were around our age throughout the semester Corona, they decided to get up and go to Hawaii and just spend their time doing classes there and explore all the islands. So during our winter break, we're like, okay, let's go visit our friends there. We found cheap tickets. Like it's gonna be a fun time. And one person that was staying there during the semester, who is one of my really good friends from childhood. Her name is Daniela. And it's a key reason why I'm mentioning her name because she's really the reason why I started this Instagram. On the last Shabbat that we were there for two Shabbats. The last Shabbat, she was asking me like, "Oh, were you putting on tefillin at this trip at all?" And I said, "No, honestly, I have not. My other friend Matan has, but I haven't." And then that's where she started giving me a lot of shit. She said, "Oh, why don't you put on tefillin? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?" And I just kept on saying like, I'm lazy. And we were at Chabad at that time. So then she told the Chabad guys, and the Chabad guys started egging me on, saying like, "Why don't you put on tefillin? Like, we'll put on tefillin on your last day." And I said, "Maybe I will." Like all of this. She's like, "Let's figure out a reason when let's figure out a situation like when you get back, you could put it on every day." And she's like, "Why don't you just wake up earlier and do it?" And I said, it's so much easier said than done. Like maybe I'll give it a shot. And then she said, "Why don't you make an Instagram where you put on tefillin every day and you post and you just say how you feel when you put it on?" And I thought about it. I said, "That's not a bad idea. Like, I'll think about it." So I came back to New York. I thought about it. And I think surely a week after I came back from the trip, I said, "Okay, I'll give it a shot." And that's when I made the first post of me putting on my tefillin. And then I just kept on going after that until today, really. It's really sad. Like I honestly, although it's helping me, when I first started, I said it's really sad that I'm relying on Instagram to make me do a religious commitment. But I realized like, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. If it's gonna make you put on tefillin, so be it. So that's how I see it these days
Amazing.
now.
And what's happened so far in the 149 days? Has there been a shift, a feeling? Is there something that's come up for you that you're still continuing? And is there kind of like a set goal, or is it just like indefinite? I'm just going to keep posting.
That is the ultimate goal.
Of course.
I think the ultimate goal is to be indefinite. I I guess that is my goal. I didn't really have a goal when starting. I guess that was the goal when doing it, to help me put on tefillin every day. I guess I think, had my feelings changed or anything since putting on and all of that? I think it just made me realize how simple it is. More, I just think I overcomplicated myself before, saying, "Oh, I put it on. It's gonna take a lot of time for me to put it on and then take it off and then do my things." I think uh, what really stopped me from putting it on in the beginning was the time. It was like the time commitment of putting it on, praying shacharit the whole time, praying shacharit, and then taking it off. And I'm like, okay, that's like a 30, 40-minute commitment. Especially when I was in high school, I would never really wake up that much that ahead of time to get up and put on tefillin for 40 minutes. Like I would, and that's what stopped me from putting it on throughout my time. I was like, okay, I have to make big time commitment. But then I think I started putting it on with Gabby Rabs, and I started to learn more because also once I started Gabby Rabs, two of my friends, Eden and Aviel, ever since Shavuot, we did like the all-nighter Shavuot thing. And like back in Great Neck, it's just like a thing to do. Even though you don't learn, it's just a thing to just go to a
Tradition.
all night. Yeah, tradition. You go, you chill, you like learn one or two things. So this past Shavuot, I of course I went and we started learning like Sephardic halachot of tefillin. And we made this a thing that we do it like once a week, once every 2 weeks, whenever we have time. And I guess the more I started learning that, the more I realized how simple it is. Just you really just need to put it on. Just put it on, either say Shema or just put it on and take it off. Really, the mitzvah is just to put it on, and that's it. So I guess throughout my time of doing it with Gabby Rats, I just realized how simple it is, and that even if you don't have a lot of time, just put it on and take it off. That's really it.
Got it. And what's happened like to you? Has something happened to you like emotionally? You learn something, and I love the fact that you're like, I don't have a 40-minute commitment, but let me just put it on, right? Like
Yeah.
just that act. Has anything happened to you like emotionally, a little bit more in depth as to since you started putting it on?
Emotionally, I guess my religious commit. I don't know. I don't know if I would say it's an emotional thing, but I guess just my greater understanding, like your my relationship with Hashem, I think, has grown more because I've been putting it on. I guess like it's now I I put it on now and I have like I have that time throughout the day to like have the conversation with God. I guess like for non-religious people, they advocate it another way through like meditation.
Yep.
While they say, okay, meditate for like 5-10 minutes a day, like how it really will change your daily life and just your output, your outtake on life. And I guess my sort of meditation is putting on tefillin. So emotionally, you could say that my relationship with God has been stronger since, and
Gotcha.
it's been better than ever. Hopefully, I guess there's still like I'm not perfect, of course. I'm
Yeah.
in all the time as only human. I mean, it's not right of us, but you know. But I guess this was like a way of kind of just talking to God and just saying. I guess it's more of like my own personal therapy, really. I think
Love
that's
that.
how it really shaped me emotionally. As long aside from like the religious part, it's more of just like a personal like therapy meditation, just like get me into the grind, really.
Got it. And do you live in a Jewish community? Are you from a family who's more traditional? Like, what's the background as to you wanting to try?
My upbringing has always been traditional. My family, so I grew up in Great Neck, New York, it is a big Jewish community filled with immigrants, mostly from Iran. There's also Israelis and some Ashkenazi Jews. But I guess the part that makes the community, I guess, different from other communities is the Iranian aspect. And I'm too, like my parents are both Iranian immigrants. So we do like from their upbringing and our upbringing, it's all been traditional. And so I didn't grow up Shomer Shabbat. I didn't grow up kosher. I actually mentioned this when I did the other podcast with two cousins in the pod, how on my parents' first date, my dad was very unreligious back in the day, and on my parents' first date, they sat down and he ordered a lobster, and my mom said, "This is not gonna work out. If this is how you're gonna be, this is not gonna work out." And I
Yeah.
guess it shaped him. I don't know how that sparked him. To this day, I will never know how that sparked him to become more observant, but it did. And throughout the time when he was dating my mom, like he became more observant, but they were still traditional. But he still was going to shul almost like on every Shabbat. He's go throughout the weekends, throughout the weekdays. And I guess I was brought up in that aspect. Even though we were traditional, we still went to shul a good amount. So prayer was always a part of my life. It's not like it wasn't something that was new. So that part came, and then I did in my after high school. I did a year in Israel that made me a little bit more observant than my family. Like I became Shomer Shabbat, became more kosher, and I guess those were the
Yeah.
only two things that I got from Israel. But there was a part of me that wanted more, but I didn't know exactly what it is I wanted. Like I tried pushing to pray more, and like I guess Israel made me. And before Israel, I didn't like to pray a lot, and I guess Israel made me appreciate prayer more. But I still wanted more, and I wasn't still at that time putting tefillin on. So I guess by doing Gabby raps, it made me progress more in my religious journey, and I guess it's sparking me to, I think, do more also.
What's amazing is we mentioned, or you mentioned two amazing Jewish women who pushed to have the men in their lives. Like Daniela, your friend, your mom to
Yeah,
your dad, right? As to like
yeah,
really make a
really,
push. So I think that like,
women.
go ahead.
Yeah, we need women in our lives. Really, if it wasn't for
100%.
women, we will fall straight to the ground.
100%. And just like how these women in your life and your father's life wanted to see us, we want to see you closer to God. We want you to be more committed and consistent, which I think is outstanding.
It
So
really is.
let me ask you this: you did Gabby Raps. You've had people reach out to you. There's a second podcast you've had. Have you had people say, "Hey, man, you're inspiring me. Every time you post, I'm wearing like what's going on in the social aspect with Gabby Raps?"
Yes, it has happened. I It has. I just don't want to. I just don't want to come off as you can like a big shot, really, because every time someone has come up to me and said it, it's really the most humbling thing I've ever experienced. The first time it's happened, the first time I got something like that was from a guy who was in my high school. He was in my grade in high school. I never really spoke to him throughout the time. I was very shy in high school, and I still am. But he was in a couple of my classes. Like I think every year I had like a class or two with him in high school. So we knew each other. We were like in the community. Like we know each other around. I would never really talk to him. So I don't know, for some reason. And he sent me a DM on Gabby Rap saying, hey Gabe, hey Gabe. Like people also call me Gabe. So he's like,
Yeah.
hey Gabe, like I just want to let you know, um, I started putting on tefillin now because of this, and I've been putting it on every day now. Thank you so much. And when I first got that, at first, aside from the humbling, as humbling he was that he was putting on tefillin every day, I think the fact that it came from him, from a guy like I didn't really talk to that much in high school, and like when you go to after high school, people part ways. Like you think you're never gonna really encounter these people ever again. So the fact that it came from him, I think really, I don't know why, it really opened my eyes to like, oh, it really opened my eyes to like, wow, like people are actually seeing this. And it never really was my intention. The intention was purely selfishly, just put it on for myself. And then when he reached out, I'm like, wow, people are actually like following this and actually like being inspired. Like, I'm like, oh God, like now I have some sort of like responsibility. But after that, like I didn't really see it that way. I'm like, okay, fine. He did, but like I'm really was more focusing on myself and putting it on. And now like I have seen him like here and there. And he still says like really thank you. Like I really appreciate it. It really like it makes me smile every time I see him. And like now we actually talk, like spark conversations. Like aside from Gabby Raps, like we talk, catch up on life and stuff. And it's really nice. And like there are other people within Great Neck who came up to me and saying, like, I love the Instagram, I love what you're doing. And it's really humbling. I really like it. I as much as like it is some sort of an ego booster, it does like some sort of boost my ego. But aside from that, it's nice to know that other people are putting on tefillin by just me posting a picture, a selfie every day from the same exact spot, like putting on tefillin. Like I don't really do much. And like something like this can inspire someone to put on tefillin, like really eye-opened me. And
Have,
aside from like kids, like yeah, I've got like I think it's recently, like a couple of days ago, someone asked me like be an influencer and like promote their product.
okay.
Yeah, I turned it down though because I didn't want this to be an influencer thing
Yeah.
unless it was like a religious product that had to do with like prayer or like something like that. But it was for jewelry.
Yeah.
I didn't see it that way. I don't want to make the Instagram more than just me putting on tefillin every day.
I love it, man. And I think that like one thing that also happens when you wear tefillin every day, it's like there's a consistency thing, like a discipline. That if you can get disciplined with that, then you can get disciplined in any other areas of your life. Right? That's kind of the way I see it.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think I've in baby steps I have been seeing that more throughout my life. Besides tefillin, it
Yeah.
has made me more of a disciplined person. Not to an extreme. Like I haven't like drastically seen it, but I like slowly I've seen myself becoming more and more disciplined. And I really wasn't a disciplined kid back before like I was just very like lazy, didn't want to do
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
But I think this made me more like independent, more self-sufficient of a man, really.
So there was a big shift. That's kind of like where I was going. There's got to be a big shift in like discipline because it's like you said, people are lazy. I don't wear it every day,
Mhm.
right? I miss days. Oh, I'm busy. Oh, the girls got up and oh, I gotta get to work. And I think that when I am disciplined with it, when I feel better, two, if I can do that every day, then I can really be disciplined to do, build a better business and have a better marriage and be a better father on my end and all those types of things. So I believe in the reason for this Tribesman podcast is that there's wisdom in Judaism. There's great wisdom. We just overlook it and we get too lazy sometimes, or the explanation doesn't connect with us, so we don't do it. As opposed to learning, well, let me try it first and see how
Exactly.
I feel and go from there.
Exactly. And it's more, yeah, really, I think people are just lazy. They don't want to, it's if you want to speak about it through like a religious aspect, I guess it's just more of this like your Yetzer Hara just getting to you when you see like some sort of opportunity, your Yetzer Hara is gonna come straight in and be like, oh no. Like let's say if it's tefillin, like you see your tefillin and like you want to put it on. And then your Yetzer Hara comes to you like, oh no, it's a time commitment because then you have to put on you have to put it on, then you have to say shacharit, and then you have to like say your Amidah, but then you have work coming up and then you don't have time for that. And it's just like a way of your Yetzer Hara getting to you. And I think if you just realize how simple it is, just put it on, take it off, and just like disciplining yourself. If you don't have that much time to put it on and then take it off and just get on with your day, like
Yeah.
it will, it will, it will help you later with other things in life.
Love it.
Really.
Hey, this has been awesome, man. I think that anybody who has been struggling with wanting to, because there's times where I'll look at it and now you've given me a different perspective of just put it on, like 5 minutes wrap, say the berachot, and move on. And if the next day you can say Shema and then your Amidah and all that type of stuff, cool. But if
Really.
not, just just put it on, and that's it. You're good.
Yeah.
So
Like if you
so,
have time, put it on and say your prayers. But if you
yeah,
don't have time, like when I have a little bit more time than I do, like I'll say like an extra prayer. Or if I have a
yeah,
little bit even more than that, I'll say two extra prayers. So like yeah, like I'm not advocating. I'm not advocating for people just to put it on and take it off because you should people should be doing more. But if really you don't have that much time, just put it on and take it off. Really, like it's very simple.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's really and honestly like I don't know how is this my way of being inspirational because at the same time I'm on the same boat as everyone, like
But
we're
that is
still figuring it out.
no, but hold
Like
on. That is inspiration. You can be
I,
inspirational by sharing your journey, and that's exactly what you're doing. Right?
I
You're not standing at
guess
the
yeah.
you're not the
Really.
guru saying I've been rapping for 28 years. Let me show you
No,
how to
no,
do this
no,
every
not at
day.
all.
You're saying like, man, I really want to do this. Come join me on my journey. That's inspirational in itself. So I thank you for that.
Really, thank you. I didn't even I really my goal wasn't to be come on my journey. It was more just like let me put it on for myself.
Yeah.
I don't even know why yeah, at one point I was like, should I make the account private just for myself? But then I was like let me make it public just
Yeah.
for why not? Maybe like my friends, like my close friends can follow me and stuff. And I didn't have to like keep on accepting them. So I just like made it public.
It's
That's
more of like
really
that
why I
lazy
made it
thing.
public, honestly.
More of that lazy thing that you were talking about. I don't want
Yeah,
to
really. Just like sheer laziness of pressing the accept button. Really, so I'm like, okay, I'll make it public and I'll just do it for myself. And I honestly like I don't know how you found it. Like I really don't know. When people say they found it, I'm like, how did you find it? Like, where did it come up? Like, I don't know how it came up on like for them to find it really. That's why I'm like, how did you find Gabby Raps?
So I found Gabby Raps through the two Chazas in a pod, because obviously they're a Jewish podcast. So I follow a lot of Jewish podcasters. And so that's how I found you. And I look at your pictures when I put it on. I'm like, I did it too. And when I don't put it on, I'm like, damn, Gabe got me again. And not in a bad way, but like it just, like seeing your picture every day is just a reminder of like, man, it's 5 minutes. Like wake up 5 minutes earlier, do something 5 minutes quicker.
Yeah.
Stop making the excuses. Stop lying to yourself that you don't have the time to do it. When in essence, a lot of the people I speak with is like, oh, I'm not connecting. I don't deserve to. But you're just about like, just start. Like just like people want to lose weight. Just go to the gym. Walk into the gym. Walk on the treadmill. It's kind of the same thing you did. You're like, I don't want to have to study everything. I don't know all the intricacies yet, but let me just put it on and go from there.
Exactly. And then it's when you brought up the part about connecting, like honestly, when people ask me, like when you ask me about like the emotional journey, I guess I guess I built a stronger connection with God. But in the beginning, when I was putting it on, I didn't really feel anything more than just put it on and take it off. And it took me a while. I think it took me more of a while to build that relationship or make me feel more like, wow, like this is helping me more throughout my life. Like in the beginning, when I was just putting it on, I was like, okay, let me put it on. I'll post it. That's it. Just for the sake of putting it on, because I knew it was a religious obligation.
Yeah.
I'll just put it on. I didn't really see it more as that. Like honestly, the first 50 or 60 days.
Yeah.
Really. And then I would put it on. Then when I put it on, like I actually put it on, like I sit and like I actually like say what like I want throughout the day, what I want from this day, what I want, like what type of essence, like what I want from Hashem for the day, really. And it's taking me a while. Like there are some days still now that I just put it on and take it off. It's not like an everyday thing where I'm like saying like, oh my God, thank you Hashem for this. I don't know why. It's like I'm still going through the journey, really.
Yeah.
I still am.
And we're on it with you. And I think that anybody who wants to be kind of consistent, follow Gabby Raps on Instagram. It's GABBY WRAPS, Gabby Raps. It's just there's no like lives and stories. It's just like a picture a day of you rapping tefillin, which is amazing.
Exactly.
And again, thanks for coming on the podcast, brother. It's been amazing. I know I struggle with it, and because of this, I'm gonna try harder. That's the truth. Because I enjoy what I do. It makes me feel good. Like you said, I can ask for thanks. I can, wish for what I want in my day. And it gives me a meditative moment of just like pause, think, thank, and move forward.
Exactly.
So Gabe, thank you so much for being on the podcast, brother. I appreciate you, man. And for those of you listening, don't forget to join us on the Tribesmen Facebook group, Tribesmen Jewish Men Leading, and stay tuned for the next episode. Don't forget to like and share this episode.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really a pleasure.
My pleasure, man. All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening. And always remember, strength and courage, Chazak, Uvaruch, Chazak Bematz.